You're looking now at pictures from San Bernardino, California. If you will look in the middle of the picture, you will see what appears to be a black SUV. This is a vehicle that police believe may have been involved in the San Bernardino shootings earlier in the day. Reports indicate to us at this time that there have been gunshots exchanged. You'll see on the left side of the screen a tremendous amount of police personnel that are there next to the vehicles. So once again, this is a vehicle that police believe may contain at least one of the suspects in the San Bernardino shooting. And if you'll look here at this moment, you will see the vehicles on the left, which appear to be police vehicles, are now moving closer to the SUV. Guys, let's go ahead and stay with this here for a couple of moments here. We'll bring in our guests in just a moment, but you see that the police are now deploying to different areas, one getting behind what may be a suspect vehicle. We cannot tell from this vantage point if indeed there are shots being fired. We are only going to say that we have reports that shots were fired earlier, and as you see, the police are now surrounding the vehicle from front to rear bumper and boxing it in. Again, this may or may not be one of the individuals involved in the early shooting in San Bernardino, which at last word left 14 people dead, at least 14 injured. The early reports had as many as 3 gunmen. There was no idea as to their actual identity, and the police now believe that they may have the individuals surrounded. We will continue to watch this, but for the moment, let us get to a very special edition of The Political Animal. I want to get some comments right away. Welcome in conservative columnist, senior contributor at the Federalist, D.C. McAllister, and the CEO at New Blue Interactive, which has provided digital strategy for organizations including the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Let's go ahead and welcome Taryn Rosenkranz in as well. Ladies, thanks for joining us. We only have a few minutes. We may go back to those pictures. D.C., let me begin with you. The mass shooting that happened in Southern California. People are politicizing this like crazy all across social media, both on the left and the right. But don't we need to just stop for a moment and realize we got a problem in this country now when it comes down to mass shooting, and let's pull the politics out of it, at least for the time being?
I don't know if that's possible. Barack Obama kind of started this ball rolling when he said after the last shooting that it needs to be politicized. He said he's going to bring up gun control every time this happens. He made that a promise. And I think that we're going to hear more about this, and it will be politicized.
Well, Taryn, let me come to you on the left side of things, because Martin O'Malley, the Democratic candidate for president, wasted no time today by tweeting out, "I'm sorry for what happened." And again, I'm paraphrasing, basically issuing his sympathies, but at the same time, in the same tweet, taking a shot at the NRA. Don't we have to take a breath?
I think that this is a horrific tragedy, and I think the one thing you're kind of forgetting is that it's not necessary to say that we're politicizing. When we're opening a discussion, it's unacceptable to have this many mass shootings, this many horrific tragedies, and how heartbreaking for the victims and the families. But if we don't start talking about real sensible solutions and reform, when is there a better time to talk about it? We can't keep taking breaths because we can't even keep up with how many mass shootings they've been. I mean, it just breaks my heart that we can't stop for a minute because the problem just keeps getting worse. I wish we could stop talking about it, but we've really got to figure out how we can reform the system, because we can't stand or tolerate one more horrific tragedy like this.
Okay, then, Taryn, let's do this then. Taryn, in 30 seconds, tell me what your suggestion then is to begin that logical discussion.
I think we have to have sensible gun reform talks. I think we've got to stop saying, whether it's one side or the other, that too extreme of what we need to do. I think what happens is that gun rights owners feel that it's a slippery slope. There is no slippery slope. We have to do something, and we need to start taking those first steps, whether it's background checks or some of the stuff that people universally, the American public, is in support of. It's time for us to take those sensible gun reforms and move them forward, move the ball down the court.
Got that. Taryn, you've had that moment now, so DC, let me come to you again. The same question then, 30 seconds. What is that logical point then for us to now begin this discussion?
Well, I think, first of all, we need some facts. Actually, gun violence is down. It's been down by 50% since 1993 when it hit its peak, and that was by the Pew statistics in 2013, which were the last statistics that we had. So it's actually not happening all the time, and we can keep up with what's happening. And just the sensible reform, that no one has really brought any kind of real change that can make a difference.
What is sensible reform? What is
exactly that? What does that mean? And I mean, a lot of these shootings happen in gun-free zones where people can't defend themselves. You know, a lot of the times, you know, the people are getting guns and they're going to get them anyway. And that's just a fact that we have to deal with. We need an armed populace. That's our Second Amendment right. And it's also a way for us to protect ourselves. What people also don't realize is that there are mass shootings that are prevented all the time by people with guns.
But we've had more mass shootings in this country than we have days in the year, though, DC.
That's what I was just about to say. I wish that was true. But the fact of the matter is there's more days this year than there are more mass shootings than there are days in this year.
But let's get to that. Yeah. Don't we have to address that, DC? Left, right, in the middle, whatever. Don't we have to address that?
We have more people that are saved by guns. Yes, we do need to address what are the root causes. What is the breakdown in society exactly? But just taking away and confiscating people's guns is not the solution.
Well, you don't really think that they're going to go through and start confiscating people's guns, do you?
Yes, because that's what Barack Obama, when he referenced Australia.
But you know that's not going to happen.
That's what happened in Australia. That's what he referenced.
Barack Obama referenced. That's not true.
Okay,
that is true. That's what he referenced, and that's what happened in Australia.
Let's do this, because I don't think anybody's guns are going to get taken away, because I think that there's going to be too many people who are responsible gun owners who are going to fight against that tooth and nail. That is not going to happen. I will agree with you on that. Ladies, unfortunately, we have to let you go, but we do need to continue this conversation at a later date. Taryn Rosenkranz, DC McAllister, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, the pictures from Southern California. There is a black SUV that has been surrounded by police. These are the pictures. They believe that this SUV may contain one of the individuals involved in the shooting earlier today in San Bernardino, California. Stay with us. The Hardline continues.